Good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another Hump Day with
theREP.
That's us, theREP, because we're here to represent you.
That's true.
The micro business owner. We're micro business owners, and so we think about micro business.
Well, especially in our community.
Right. We our community is about the local community, but you think about everybody across the U.S. There are so many micro businesses. There are so many people that are entrepreneurs that have jumped in the middle of this. So we're here to talk again today about that, and not to mention social media. Social media is kind of like that. It's almost. Should we be playing the Empire March?
I mean, do you really have that love-hate relationship with social media right now?
And you know what? Honestly, I don't hate social media.
I hold no ill will for that.
Well, it's not a matter of ill will. I don't hate social media.
No.
I enjoy social media. Not because of, I'm not on it 24/7, but I enjoy getting on, seeing what people are doing when I'm on there. It's a fun source. It's enjoyable that way. I enjoy sharing what we're doing as a company.
Yes.
It's opportunities for people to word of mouth, to talk about what you're doing. It's a great source because our lifestyle in today, it moves at breakneck speed, right?
You almost can't keep up with the progression, changes, policies, everything that is continually updating and changing.
Well, I'm talking about just everyday life. People working and doing and going, and you're going so fast and you're doing all these things. We'll get to all that stuff here in a minute. But I'm just talking about social media.
Your next door neighbor,
in
your
general.
family,
the people and whatnot. Hey, man, I haven't been, I haven't seen you, and especially in the situation we've been in recently, right?
Exactly. I mean, how else are you supposed to keep up with those people? You haven't seen them in maybe 3 months.
Right.
And then you get to be able to say, hey, what's up? What's going on with you?
Hey, this is what's going on with me, just having some fun here, this, that, and it's cool. Somebody says, hey, how you doing? I think those are positive things that can be done. Now, there are the negative things to it. Mm-hmm. I don't think you need to be on 24/7 and nobody needs to see you doing, stupid stuff.
I mean,
as simple as that.
It doesn't mean, you're sitting at the restaurant, your hamburger in one hand and your phone in the other hand.
Right. If you're out at the ballpark and you're having some fun, if you're, at the park,
Snapshot.
if you've done something like this and you're at some, you're in the Caribbean and you go, hey, how you all doing? From the Caribbean, and it's snowing here. Everybody goes, oh, yeah.
We live vicariously through those moments.
That's right. It's fun to have the social media. And then there is the business aspect of it, where you can share your product, share your company, and make people aware of what you're doing in the local community.
Which has been super advantageous to your micro business because how else are you building that rapport with the people in the community, knowing what you're doing or why you're doing it?
Exactly. So, social media has its place. And and like I said, Lauren knows this, you don't see everybody every day.
No, you don't.
And, that doesn't mean you need to.
It doesn't.
I don't have to see everybody every day.
No,
and I don't think anybody wants to see me every day.
Give or take a little bit. No, but I mean, you don't need, if you want to keep, it's a great tool to keep up that contact, that relationship.
Right. But now we get into on the business side of these things, and this is what we're going to do. This is our topic for today, social media. And, have you, when you check mark the box that says the terms, policy and terms
of conditions,
community guidelines, Does anybody ever read that?
I bet most of you have checked that box in the last few days on something that you have done, but I can guarantee maybe like 90% of us have not read a single thing or even clicked it to see why they're there.
So Lauren's going to talk a little bit about that today, not only from a personal, but business. Have you checkmarked that box and did you read it?
Right. So why we bring into this subject is because not only, we've talked about social media being such an important tool, not only personally, but for business. And we want to move, full steam ahead into it, using it for the best possible scenario for your business. So we get in there, we jump right in, and we kind of skirt past those things that when you're signing up or giving yourself that foundation on social media, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whichever space that you've put your business in, you're advertising there possibly, you're connecting with the community, you're putting out posts about your business, and you're moving on. But what most of us haven't taken the time to do is read those community guidelines, read those policies, those terms of conditions. They're there not only for those people, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. They're not there just for them. They're there for you too. They can protect you as well, because if you're following those policies and those guidelines, especially what's been all hyped up right now about what's what and what you can do on social media, if you have gone through and read community guidelines, posting guidelines, those policies when it comes to your advertising, you've protected yourself, and you can put the best content out there without seeing some of those hindrances or obstacles that can come up when you put something out there that may not follow those policies or guidelines that you just didn't know about. I mean, when I first started doing this, I was going through and I had no idea way back when that there were housing policies that you had to follow when it comes to advertising on Facebook. That even you could be a real estate person that's doing just some land over here on the side, but you have to follow their Facebook's housing guidelines, because it may have to do with something that has to do with the housing industry or real estate, or guidelines that may have to do with what they say is right or wrong. And it doesn't mean that you can't post what you're going on about, but you have to.
So basically, to explain, to put this into perspective, if somebody is just selling land, a piece of land,
right,
they have to follow the community guidelines based on the housing, what do they call it? The government housing guidelines.
Yes, there are federal.
For the things for non-discrimination,
yes,
correct?
They're non-discrimination, that you can't discriminate based on what you're putting out there. You can't directly target somebody or say something specific about someone, which is true of anything. You're not going out there on social media to be like, hey, you're doing this or you're doing that. That's not the point of this. And they're just protecting you and themselves when they're doing this. And so when you're doing that, it's not that your post isn't going out and your content isn't right. Their community guidelines are there, that you're letting them know that you're posting about this and you're following their rules. You're just literally checking that box like we talked about and knowing what that checking that box is doing, because you're turning that on in those advertising, those comments, those everything that you're doing, and saying, hey, I'm following the rules, I'm doing this. And you know what you're doing when you're doing it. Those, what did I come across? Oh, recently. Facebook advertising goes through and they just did the updates, and you click the box saying, hey, I've read this or whatever it may be, and I come through. It was about the Apple updates. Apple's changing their policies, and it has to do with your Facebook. You may never know what someone's policies change may affect what you're doing. By reading those updates and knowing what's going on, staying informed, that's what we talk about the most, is staying informed for your business. It may be tedious. It may be going on saying, 3 or 4 pages of privacy laws. But when you get to the section that says, hey, this is what you have to do, those things are important. Those things are what you need to pay attention to as a business owner, because it means you're doing things the best way for you.
So, folks, basically, what Lauren is saying is, don't just check mark the box.
Don't skip the part.
Don't just check mark it and move on. Before you check mark the box, read it, because it is important, especially if you're a business owner.
Right.
And if you have to, that's where your legal representation comes in.
true.
You know, get it to your lawyers and say, hey, look, you know what? I may not understand this particular
Right.
thing because, you know, really honestly,
Right.
how many of us speak lawyer?
I do not at all.
I don't
Zero.
speak lawyer, and I really don't want to speak lawyer.
And these things aren't trivial either.
No, and it can cost you when you see that red mark when it pops up and they ding you, and they say you can't do this, you can't do that. It's hard. We've had to deal with a couple things here and there, haven't
It's true.
we?
I mean, and it's through no fault or bad doing.
Yeah, but maybe not quite understanding the policy as it was said, because we do read these policies.
I have to go back and reread these things and follow the guidelines and the community updates.
Right. And this is where, as you know, the REP way, when we talk about doing these things, this is one of the reasons why we developed the REP way, because we started getting into these things as our own advertising, as what we wanted to do to promote our product, our production company. And we're like, man, this is a mess. This is hard.
It is hard.
And so when we started talking and looking at how we can develop something to help other micro businesses market themselves in these ways, this is one of the things, because it takes time to do this, to develop it, to work a strategy within these guidelines to make sure that, hey, we're not missing anything. Advertising's doing right. We're not going to get dinged. They're not going to send us to Facebook jail or Instagram jail or Twitter jail or or you know, any of these. And there are other social media outlets, minds.com, MeWe, right? There's alternatives out there. You can use
There
them.
are lots.
And it's just what fits. What are you doing? How are you doing?
No
correct?
matter where you go, what you want to do, there are going to be guidelines. There are going to be policies on any place you go, any place you try to put your business, and it's worth the time to make sure you know what the standards are.
Exactly. But if you're looking into these things and whatnot, and you want some help, you want somebody that can really drill into that's what we're here for. And you know, the REP way is developed for that. Lauren does a great job with not only Red Earth Productions, but with other clients that we have that we work with. So that's what we wanted to talk about. So remember, don't make sure you give the old chicka.
Wait to check the box, please.
Read it first. And if you don't want to read it, give us a call. We'll be happy to talk to you about these things. And, you know, that's what we're here for. You can contact us, whatever the case may be that way. So, folks, today that's what we had for you on the show on Hump Day, because we're here to help you get your business, your micro business, over the hump, not just on Wednesday, but every day. Please, if you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button. Hit the notifications bell there so you can get updates for when we have new programs, new shows coming up. We got Dr. Elizabeth Crumbaugh with Love Your Spine. She does a great job talking health and wellness. We have Megan Wallander from the tax office talking accounting, payroll, and it's tax season.
I was going to say, super important right now, by the way.
Everybody's got to do their taxes. And so...
Because I have no idea how to do them.
Yeah, exactly. And we got Megan coming up here. She comes on every 2 weeks, every other Monday.
Right.
We've got Megan on the show talking
Lots
accounting
for you
and
to
stuff
watch.
that way. Yeah. So remember, hit the subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at Red Earth Prod, PROD LLC. You can go to our website at Red Earth Productions or Red Earth Prod. There it is, Red Earth Prod, PROD.com. Give us a shout. Look at what we do. We appreciate it. Hey, it's Hump Day. Let's have some fun. Let's get over that hump, right? Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and we will see you next time.